a ball, baby. Rock 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 a ball, baby.
What up, yo? Here we are again, back with another installment of that show you call Black Thoughts Matter. I'm your host, the man behind the cam, but I'm in front of the cam, doing the cam thing, you understand? It's your boy Bodega Chip. I'm sitting here with my man to the left, you know, he's here every so often.
Back, you know, I got a job now, so, you know, they throw schedules at me and I'll never know when I have to go in. But Brother Too Tall in the Jock of Moses on the Instagram. We about to do another thing. Have another good night.
Yeah, don't forget to check me out. Kill Wills 3. I'm on the Instagram too, yo. Y'all know y'all should be seeing me. Now as you can see, again, we are a player short, so we got a replacement for him. Today I want to introduce you a man that I met here going through the little poetry adventures, because I know I'd be doing that right there. This man right here was saying some word things that just caught my attention. I was like, yo, it's an intelligent man right here. Let's hear what he got to say. Introducing y'all to the show, the man Mr. Gavin here.
Greetings, world. Yes, Gavin. Good to see y'all. You can check me out on Instagram, Purunam Surya. And yeah, just holding the alkaline vibes. And I love myself. Love and respect out to everybody.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to holding the reasonings tonight.
Yes, sir. We are here on Thursday, February, psych, May 9th. Thought I was going to say February again, huh? We're here, and surprisingly, it's not raining.
It's not raining today. It rained every show.
It's not raining. It rained ever since 8 straight weeks. It rained.
For Thursdays?
Friday, for Friday.
For Friday, yeah.
And then I did it last week on Thursday, and it rained.
And it rained. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of rain.
That's crazy,
We're
man.
going to connect and shoot this out to a few people real quick.
Sure.
Are we on?
Okay.
Rockstar Actions, who's that?
But hey, who?
Rockstar Actions?
I don't know, that might be your people's... Oh, no, Rocklets. That's, that's Ron. What up, Ron? Ron, Tiff out there in Georgia. Tell Eli and Jaden I said, what up, man? We about to hit the road this weekend. We going out to Providence, man. We taking them boys out there to go do the thing, man. You know what I'm saying? And they raised the minimum wage.
When they did?
Yeah. It's going to be 15 in about 5 years.
Oh, I'm about to say, because if they raise that, they're going to have to raise everybody else who's been getting money.
Nah, it's not. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Oh.
Like being in alive?
Yeah, we're in alive and watching it.
We in the live.
Watching me, watch me.
Watching you, watch me.
So if I request to go live with you, I can confirm the request on there, and then I'll be live on my account.
Probably.
With you. Should I try that?
Right.
You mind if I try that? Cool.
Yeah.
Because like, right, I see the live, and then it'll ask me, to request.
I mean, you could watch it and share it with people.
Right, but if I'm live with it, then people will see the live happening.
Where they'll see it through your phone?
Yeah, they'll see it through my account. Because it can't go live.
Oh, turn your volume down. You can watch it.
Yeah, true.
So I got 2 feeds I'm watching. I can see both of them. I can see yours and...
Right.
Yo, but I can't see nothing though.
Right.
Yo, I can't see nothing though.
So you want to go back to the first one?
No, you good?
No, that might mess
It
it
might
up.
be messing it up, huh?
Yeah, go back to the first one.
It's double.
Yeah, just follow it.
True.
Oh, snap, yo.
Got his junk live too.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
just follow it.
That was like some next level.
Yo, that's crazy right there, yo. You can turn your music back on. You good?
Oh yeah, true. We got the music.
Yeah, you good, man.
There we go. We back to normal.
You know what I'm saying? We all live, baby.
I don't think no one did that before, you know? Like double up on the live.
All right. Sound like we was in the basement.
I never heard that. I mean, I never seen that. So you learn something new all the time now. You learn something new all the time. Yeah, I know about that. Nope.
They just experienced it.
I know people just watched it like, yo, what's that, yo? Yo, that dude Gavin just turned us on to some shit, man.
Rabbit hole. That's the rabbit hole right there.
We just tripped in that motherfucker.
Yeah, for real. I'm still learning myself.
Still learning myself too.
I'm still learning myself, you know what I mean? Got this dude, the genius up in here. Yo, oh man. Okay, let me see who hit me up. Oh, that was you.
Yeah, the first time I found out genius was an insult was boot camp. Went to boot camp and they started calling people geniuses.
Oh, wow.
You genius. Way to go, genius. Hey, genius.
That was an insult.
That was an insult. Like, I'm like, oh shit.
So they flipped it.
They flipped it. That's like saying dumbass.
Right. So basically, because then, and what I'm feeling from that was that they're like switching it so that you won't think, and you'll just do exactly what they say. Because it's like when you're doing something that's, right, counter to what they're instructing for one to do,
Yeah.
then you're the genius. Oh, well, you're thinking, you know?
Oh, I'm thinking that sounds like to me more like a wise guy.
Right, true.
You're a
true.
wise ass.
Right. That's the same sort of thing, you know?
Yep.
Because if you actually drop some knowledge sometimes, and people take it the wrong way, then it's like, oh, now you're a wise ass.
Now you're a wise ass.
It's like, well, yes, I have an ass, I'm wise, you know, that is me. You know, and the ass, too, is the donkey, right? So the ass is like the one that carries the workload, you know? So it's really like, I mean, you know, it's all something, you know?
You said double standard?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of double standards. Shit. Speaking of double standards, just everybody was talking about that Aisha shit. That's been all over social media, the Aisha Curry thing. How she was saying that she need more, she wanted more male attention.
Right. Okay,
Well,
yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, you're a whole married woman, married to someone that, you know, to the public eye appears that, you know, he treats you well. You got, you know, you live in lavish. But for some odd reason, there's still discontentment. And there were so many different opinions about that. What do y'all think about that?
You know, there's no reason for another woman to seek attention from another man publicly like that. Especially when you in the public, you're basically in the public eye. You know, you courtside at the basketball game. And I mean, what you mean? What you want people to run up on you, ask you for your number?
Right. I seen a little clip from the Red Table Talk. She was like, she don't want dudes to be all over her like that, but it's nice to know. You know, you can't get my number, but it's nice to know that they're gonna try.
I mean, she just wants to feel, I feel like, a value, right? Because it's like, to me, the most beautiful thing in creation is women, right? And naturally, black women, like, is the origin, you know, of woman. So, you know, it's like, I think that energy wants to be enjoyed. You know what I mean? It's like a fruit, like the fruit of a tree. It wants to be, it's sweet for a reason. Like there's sugar in it for a reason, you know?
She's married.
It wants to be, no, of course.
Is she
But
not
again,
being
it's
enjoyed
like,
enough?
kind of like what we were reasoning with before, where how just because society does it this certain way, and then when you want to do it another way, that doesn't mean it's like, instead of being like, yeah, but she's married, well then why don't we really reason about what marriage really is supposed to be?
Where you going with this?
And like, I mean, of course, there's like polygamy, and there's like, life is so vast, is all I'm saying.
What's the right way, right?
So there's so many, there's so many different expressions that can be expressed ultimately.
Interpretations.
Yeah.
And you can live so many different ways that it's like, I feel from man to judge and to say what's right and wrong, it's like that's for oneself to be deciding and to be implementing in your life. And yes, like morals are real and ethics and this thing, you know, but it's like for me to say what's best for another person is not like, I see that as a more of a judgment, you know?
Yeah, we grew up in a society where they got laws and
Right.
someone's cultivated judgment on what's right and wrong, you know?
Right.
I used to think about that too, like they could say, you know, growing your own food and, you know, collecting rainwater is illegal and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
They want to tax you for
They
it.
want to tax you for it and throw you in jail for doing X, Y, Z. Like if you have a business without an LLC,
They want to tax
they
you.
want to tax. They want some of that money. You can't have no business making money in this country.
All money.
unless you give them a piece of it.
They want a piece of it.
You
can't give them a piece.
It's kind of weird, yo. How do you
They're gonna take it just like when you get
operate
paid.
in the matrix? And
Well, here's the thing about matrix, right? So matrix, like in mathematics, a matrix is a womb, basically, where the matrix is like if you were, have you ever studied in math? I remember in school, in high school, we studied matrices, where you put in two linear integers, and then you have all the possible outcomes come into that graph.
Okay.
so that high school math.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was so bad at math, but I remember some parts of this, you know?
Yeah. Go ahead,
And it's basically like on your x, right? You have the x and y axis, right?
Yeah.
So due to the two integers, what you get in the graph which is the quadrant, because there's four, right? Like a cross.
Yeah.
So what comes into that quadrant is going to be all the possible outcomes of the two integers, right?
Word.
So that's like life, right? So that's why we have matrix is like nature is the real matrix. And it's like the expression that creation takes in the form of creation is nature, right? And that is this matrix. And so what has been done is that those laws in that order, which is geometry, if you want to bring it into scholastic terms, you know, trigonometry, calculus and all this stuff, is just how nature actually creates itself.
Yep.
And what they've done is they learn that, and then they call it geometry and all that sort of thing, but they learned it and then reproduced it,
Yep.
which we have in modern day cities.
Society.
They reproduced it to hold people within that.
Society.
Instead of actually telling them the truth of the laws of creation, of the laws of nature, they took those laws and utilized them to hold people within
bonded.
their structure.
Governments, that's what governments have done. I'm following you
For
completely.
thousands of years.
Forever.
So we're in a tense. We're in a matrix. In a
In
matrix.
a matrix. We don't need the matrix to be in a matrix, though.
Possibly inside of another.
They got us thinking that we need the matrix to be in
That we,
it.
we,
We don't.
need, we need them to survive.
The world is already working in that fashion.
Well, I would say this is how I think about it, is that like the earth works in that fashion.
Yeah, that's from the earth.
The world to me is like the society law,
okay, yeah.
right?
Different
Because the
terminology.
world just keeps on turning, but the earth is like forever. You know, it's the forever like omnipresent, omnipotent,
It was always here.
always here, and forever will be creation.
Hold on. Gotta switch that.
What?
Go ahead. Y'all can keep going.
Yeah, it's like who got smart? Who was the first person to notice how the natural order of the earth was running, and then decided to make a society,
Right.
laws to enforce certain things.
Well,
Keep the resources bottled up because they know we need them.
right.
Tax you for it. It's just like,
Because
wow.
I think the
Who
knowledge
came up with that?
and the science is there, right? So it's inherent in nature. And then, like example, in the ancient societies of Africa, they still utilize those same laws that we have today in,
But they're not wicked.
this
Man.
world.
It's like
But
wickedness.
exactly, because the intention
Yeah,
was
the
more
intention.
on a righteous,
Take the book off.
on a righteous cause, right? It was more on the righteous
Just took
tip.
natural things and made it for evil.
But even so, I've heard many stories of corruption too, even in that ancient world and
Yep.
in the ancient place.
It's always
because-
corruption. It's just on a bigger scale now.
Right.
We got currency.
It's the modern one anyway,
Yeah.
Because I can't really say what the ancient world was like, because it could have been much more grand than we even have now.
Well, stop it. Give me.
Think of like Atlantis and like floating cloud cities or something.
In ancient Egypt, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that was a whole different world, a whole different set of currency.
Yeah.
But
For real.
that world got conquered though.
There was always some kind of currency.
Right.
It started off with fruits and animals and,
Yup.
Yeah.
Trading.
you know what I mean?
I heard
Goods
the
and
cow.
services.
Yeah, it was
The cow
always,
was the first currency.
there was always some kind of currency.
And beans.
Like that's why they got the bull at in Wall Street.
Oh yeah.
They got that
yeah,
big bull.
Right, that damn golden calf.
Right. That's why they always relate it to this calf, because that's like the original god too.
The original,
Malak, like the milk, and
the original
out
idol.
of Africa, Eastern Africa, like, and they still have these cows with their horns are like 6 feet, massive horns, like look like ancient animals.
Yeah. They probably are, but they probably not. That's what they tell us. Whatever they tell us.
Both things, you know, both can be true.
Education is the mother.
Mm.
And then when you come outside education and start questioning things, it'll take you to another level that you're gonna need some therapy for.
True. Exactly.
For real.
Society is a twisted place, man. Yes, it is.
It is, yeah. At this point, it's like a knot, you know.
When you think about all the just some of the evil stuff, you think about all the pedophilia and,
Right.
and
Catholic
human trafficking that's going on now. I mean, it's been going on, but we're more aware of it now. It's crazy, man. People are go missing every day.
Yeah, for real. It's
They're
true.
taking
It's
organs,
like,
man.
They're taking organs.
You know they taking organs.
Oh, there was a thing I posted from Yurima Karama. It was about some states. They're looking into the manufacturing of manure made from human remains.
they found it? And they were gonna make.
Trying to make.
They're trying to get that like legalized.
Wow.
And it's off of nature back in the day. You know what I'm saying? They must have found another secret that can help them grow food in larger quantities and stuff like that by using natural compost.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean,
It's crazy. There was a whole little video that went with it, but
that's nuts.
Damn, man.
crazy, man.
That's the next level thing.
You know that just gonna knock somebody off. That's all they gonna do and claim it.
Using people, killing people.
Man, it's just cool, yo.
Jay! Instagram rolling though.
Nah, but he damn near cut him out.
I can pull up a little bit too.
Nah, he's a technician.
Right.
He's a visual technician, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got
Fix
him.
that shit. Yeah. Yo, you cut the man out the picture, yo.
Did I? Oh.
Unscrew it if you got to, and turn it. Don't force it.
I'm not. Make sure I don't get.
The last time it was falling.
Yeah, yo. Make sure the man not in the picture. He probably cut you out because you got a cousin named Gavin. That's probably.
Oh, for real? Yeah, that's what everyone always says. You know, I get that so much,
You got a
man.
cousin named Gavin?
Yeah, I get the cousin like so much, man. It's crazy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm always surprised because I never meet everyone named Gavin. Really. And then everyone's always got a cousin, but I guess that's how it is sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And so you got locks under there?
Yeah, they're kind of, you know,
Yeah.
it's just natural.
I recognize
Freeform.
the beanie. Oh, freeform locks is even better.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Shoot.
It's wild.
I just cut my locks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going balding.
Oh, you cut him?
So I cut them.
Oh, man.
I had the whole Klingon looking thing going on.
Right.
Predator.
They said the predator.
Stop.
I took mine off a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know. People like they got this sensitivity thing on my Instagram. I talk to a lot of sensitive people. You know, it's like you could take a joke in one of two ways. You know, you could take it on the chin, or you could be a little girl about it.
True.
I don't know.
Yo, you're too old to be crying over sensitive stuff, though.
You know, you're not in the military anymore. You should have went to sensitivity training. I'm like, listen, the world is hard out there. It's rough.
That's what the military train you
The
for.
world is tough out there. The world's not nice. You know,
It's not, it's true.
it's my influence. You know, I got out of love. I'm gonna tough love you. You feel me?
Mm.
Rather it come from somebody that actually care about your well-being than somebody out in the world that don't care. That's gonna use you, try to screw you over. It's like training almost. We train how we fight. Hoo-yah. That's just still programmed in me, man. And
Definitely is a balance, you know.
Facts.
Definitely is a balance.
That's crazy.
Be in the world, not of the world.
Sensitivity.
It's compelled by love, and people that know two sides of love, it's compassion and it's sternness.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta be.
I have
You
a
can't be a
little-
pushover.
Sometimes I have a little more than the other,
You
but
can't be
It
hardcore.
depends on the application.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sensitivity training. That's him right there.
Listen,
He teaching the course.
Now I'm learning it through life because I've been out for about what 2010, 9 years now, and
Wow.
it's still been an adjustment. Like I used to be so hardcore coming out the gate, I was offending everybody. It didn't matter, women, guys.
Wow.
You know, now I'm a little more sensitive to the women. You know what I'm saying? The men, I still gotta be men. We men. Men is men. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be hard on you because
Dudes can't
the
be
world
sensitive.
requires more from you.
They can't be sensitive when they're trying to how you say it?
Defeminize.
Yeah.
Yeah, they already doing that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit
Yeah, it's
crazy.
true. It's again a balance. Every moment has its, has its play. But yeah, we do live in such a masculine dominated
Yeah.
Yeah.
lifestyle, masculine energy,
Mhm.
So it's interesting to see that balance come, and come back and forth and the changes in our times because, things have changed so much, like
So, I
in the
mean,
last 10 years even.
matter of fact, I just seen something where they just passed a bill or they approved something for birth control for boys.
Oh my goodness,
Right,
yo,
right,
that's just crazy.
Right.
You seen that,
That's
right?
crazy.
That's
That's
some
wild,
pill,
son.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
All that stuff to sterilize and mess up your system, even female birth control is not natural.
That's what it
Right.
is.
That jump messed
Yeah.
them all up.
Yeah, it's pretty bad for hormones and,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to make her, him, and him, her.
Right, true.
Think about it.
Yeah, facts. Just switch.
I mean, that's what's
Think about
happening
it.
too, the whole transgender and the whole, this whole
Identity
movement,
crisis.
identity thing,
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because it's in the food already. Like soy, for example. Soy is like the highest estrogen out of any food. Is in soy. Estrogen is the female hormone.
People don't believe that that's in the food. They're
So-
like, I was born this way.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's, it's, I definitely see, people wanting to be lucid. And I think it's more natural for women to be lucid and attracted to either sex.
Yeah.
Because, I see women, and, I would never say to another, if another woman thought a woman was attractive, so, of course.
It's a little more,
It's a different sort
Common.
of thing.
It's more common.
it's a
to
little
hear
more accepted.
women. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's, because it does get very personal, because, trauma is sent down through also our DNA.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
it is. Yeah. Yep.
So we actually pick up on what our ancestors have been going through, right? And that trauma got stored, and maybe your father or your grandfather wasn't, or your mother and grandmother wasn't working on that
Yep.
trauma, but then it comes to you, and then we live out a certain life.
They're called generational curses, yo.
Yeah,
It's passed
right.
down.
But you can break them though once you're aware of it.
Yeah, you can heal it, You can heal it.
You
for
think
sure.
that's like a gene?
I mean, it's like an activated gene, right? Because we have our DNA, and they say that mainly it's not active, your DNA. Like how we only use a small portion of our brain.
Yeah, the 10% to 90% thing.
Yeah,
I think that has a lot to do with our consciousness. Like once you become
For
more
sure.
aware of things, attached to nature, you begin to go into the other percentage of your brain.
yeah.
That's
And
how-
your DNA too,
Yeah, that too.
because the DNA is like a staircase or like a ladder.
You gotta consciously turn it
So
on.
it's like going up, and you gotta continuously be climbing, where you're not taking, like Bruce Lee said, never take a day off, right? There's no days off,
Wow.
and just always be staying at your peak. Because if you take one day off, now you're off your peak, right? Where he was shooting movies and training every day. He was doing
Yes, he was too.
everything every day.
All the time. Man.
And he was at the peak of his abilities every day. He was even pushing his peak higher every day. Because he knew that if he let up, he would be slowing down. So, yeah, it's a balance, It's definitely a balance, because then again, he has this mystery around his death, too.
Yeah.
So it just that's kind of where, I don't know, it's so powerful when we have those sort of people in our lives, Bob Marley,
Yeah.
right, Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start to get in, obviously Nipsey Hussle, you get into these beings that brought so much expression and life and energy and love
Yeah, through their talents.
into the field through their talents. Once they kind of have that, it sets the floor.
You said it. I mean,
right? Because they raise the bar.
Oh yeah, they do.
They raise the bar, and then when they go, that bar becomes the floor. You know, so then
Hopefully
we're
the
like,
next generation will pick up off of that floor, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly.
Don't let it drop.
And then everyone was now, well, it's like now that's like the floor, and then we're like, we're gonna raise the bar to another height stuff.
Yeah, we have to,
You know what I'm saying? Because now we're like trotting on what they set.
They set.
You know?
It's a marathon. You
It's
just
a marathon.
pass the baton.
That's beautiful, man. That's
Keep it moving.
Yo,
for real.
You gotta
facts.
keep it moving.
And it's definitely a hustle, you know?
Mhm.
But again, I feel like that's what we were talking about before about the red pill or the blue pill, and both, where it's like, you gotta be able to take in the knowledge and the wisdom and apply that to yourself, and then like see, right, because I was smart yesterday, and I wanted to change the world, but today I'm wise, so
Yeah.
I'm changing myself.
Find peace. Inner
Yeah.
peace.
So you take that in, that knowledge, practice it, and then just how you then express yourself is going to change the world in that way, you know? So, yeah, I mean, imagine if like one of these people was like something else, if Bob wasn't a musician, you know, if he was doing something else.
Play soccer. But he
Right.
play soccer.
Right, what if he was a soccer player? Like, I'm sure he would have been great, and he would have made an impact in Earth, but like, you know, I don't think he would have made as much of an impact on people.
Man, what if he had built bobsleds
Right.
Give me a rag right there.
and won every push cart derby? You know I gotta do my comedy shit every episode.
Can't say we made bobsleds.
Yo, Bob Marley got so many
Bob
kids.
sleds.
Bob Marley bobsleds.
Bobsled. I'ma make bobsleds. Yo, Bob Marley got so many kids, yo.
Right, true.
This Damien, ooh, how many kids he got? There's another one. He light skinned it.
20, man. He's got like.
He got a whole bunch, and they all artists of some sort.
I mean, Damien's mom's Damien's mom is white.
Okay.
Cindy Breakspear, she's
And
a white woman. So
Yeah, there's like another kid. He's like, yo, I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, how many sons you got?
Yo,
And they all in the music.
those are only the ones that are like out there
They're
too.
like out there too. There's
Because
more,
he's
huh?
got more, bro, for sure. I mean, like, be fruitful and multiply, you know? So it's
Putting
like,
seeds all over the highway and the
when you're,
median.
when you're Bob too, and the world needs more love,
Right?
you're just like, wow.
Is this love that I'm feeling? Yo, he was spreading it.
Man, we getting all, what's all that?
I don't know what that is. Somebody.
Oh, that's Kaz.
Hey,
Someone's dropping.
Yeah, what up, Kaz? Hitting all them bubbles and shit. That shit look like
right.
somebody blowing bubbles. What the hell? Yeah,
Yeah,
we up
so-
here doing the thing. Oh, here we go, yo. You all about your natural and all that
Sure,
stuff right
sure.
there.
Holistic.
Okay. We had a little discussion going back 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Last week we spoke about it. What's your take on the earth being round or flat?
Okay. Okay. Are you ready for this?
Mm.
Because, like, here is the reality, right? Every vibration has its polarity and its harmonics.
Mm.
And I would say that it's probably both and more. Because ultimately, when we think of life dimensionally or within fields, right, or like levels, an ant is just on this plane, you know, it knows nothing really of the sky. You know,
Yeah.
it's on this two-dimensional field. So then, for an ant, like, things are flat. So I feel like it's much more of a, like something beyond our own comprehension, where it's kind of like, because nothing's flat in nature. Nothing is flat. Like, so for me to think that the earth would be flat in that sense, I think people's perception is flat. You know, they're seeing things as being, basically, it's like this. When you have two eyes, we're still seeing two-dimensional. It's until you activate your third eye, right, this pineal gland. Then you're actually three-dimensional, means that you can see around. Because this is the third dimension is when time and space collide. And so we have this field around us that is like, right, I'm now behind the glass, so I can hold it, right? But I can't see what's written over here, right? But once you've activated this pineal, this center in your eye, which is basically the seat of intuition.
Yo.
So you're actually seeing through your intuition, and it's not physical, right?
It's not
Which
spiritual.
they will also say is gross, like, right? They say gross matter. It's like physical matter.
Yeah.
So it's much more of your intuition. So it's like, that's between you and the Most High.
Yeah.
Because your intuition is like, who's to say if that's right or wrong? It's your intuition. Like, That's beyond intelligence.
Between you and the Most High and the energy, you can feel what's wrong.
You can feel it.
You can feel
And
it.
you could feel what would be here, like you would just know if you were really tapped into that center. So, when I hear people talking about the earth being flat, like I would say the dimension that they're placing themselves is flat. You know? Because it's like the ant. Like, if they're just saying, no, it's not round, because of this whole other field that we have. Well, that's you can't blame the ant though. It's like, well, yeah, that's you though.
That's as far as they know.
That's you.
Yeah.
You know, and ultimately, like, I know for myself, it's in a way it doesn't really matter. You know, because like what matters is my garden or my friends, my family. Like what matters is my health.
Facts.
What matter, like, and
Yeah,
I
that's
get
what
that.
matter, yo.
Yeah,
That
it do
could
make sense, though. 'Cause
it could change your life in a little bit,
Yeah.
but like we're still 98.6 degrees.
In the grand
Trump
scheme of
is
things,
still doing crimes.
facts.
Like, you
The
know,
bigger
things-
picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's a whole nother. I mean, there's worlds within worlds.
Yes.
So
There's so many small debates, you know, majors, minors,
right,
based off people's interpretation. You know, what's important to you may not be important to the next person.
it's
Some
true.
people want to argue about the earth being flat and round.
Think about it like this, right? Think about it like this. If you look at this pen, right? It's like a flat circle, right? Now, if I take that and I move it like this, it's now a 1, right?
Yep, now
It's not like a cylinder. It's no longer circular. There's no more circular.
now
It's all linear,
cylindrical.
Yeah.
right? So it's the same thing. It's actually 0 and 1 is together. Right? So when people say is it flat or round, I gotta say it's probably more likely than anything both.
Both.
And more though, because
more.
it's definitely more than we're perceiving it to be, like multi-dimensional. Because time is like we perceive time to be linear,
Yeah, it's not.
but if you're beyond time,
It's eternal. There is no beginning and end.
there's no clocks in outer
So
space.
we can't understand that because we're so used to time.
It's true,
Even without a watch, we used to time because of sun and moon.
right? It's true. There are the cycles,
Yeah,
you know.
but there is no time for the Most High.
Right. Because really the most high is also the most low.
He's the
Because
most everywhere.
it's the connection.
you gotta have one
It's
opposite.
yeah. It's the everything. Because everything's. What is beyond everything? Because if God is everything, then what can be beyond all things? Nothing can really be beyond
Nothing,
everything.
yeah. The emptiness.
The emptiness. But even emptiness is something. It's empty. Your glass is empty. It's still filled with space, you know? So,
Yes, it is. It's air in that space.
but yeah, that has been quite a big debate, you know, the flat earth and all this thing, you know? So,
I feel like it's a distraction, you know, away from people, you know, loving and thinking about their friends and family and doing things that's gonna benefit your life.
yeah, grow a garden.
Everything is a distraction.
It is.
If you spent half the time that you took watching the YouTube videos on flat earth in the garden, or like doing some qigong, or like, you know,
Facts.
playing an instrument or something, like, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, you might be a little happier. You know what I
We
mean?
always
Like, you
time
might
doing
be,
dumb shit, for real.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, why? I mean, it's irrelevant in a way anyway.
True.
You
True.
know, and I've seen some deeper videos and theories on like there are no trees. Have you heard this one?
No.
Where
Go ahead.
basically like they're talking about how like the trees we have now were those are like even the oldest trees we have are like really young, and that these mountains and there's quite a number of examples
Okay.
that these mountains are the trees that were cut down.
Trees, yeah.
And when you look at some of the ancient texts, right, the Sumerian text and a lot of these texts from the ancient world, talking about like aliens coming to our planet and harvesting gold and a lot of these things. Also in these stories, they were cutting down the trees, right? And then inside the tree, they would find the gold, because where are usually a lot of the elements?
In the
In the
trees.
mountains,
In the mountain,
right?
in the earth,
Because
in
In the
minerals,
earth, that's where you do the, so
minings.
they like basically like if you think about like for example, they'll have a huge mountain range and there'll be a lake in the middle, right? So if you think about a big tree, like, and this tree would extend to like, this is like, we're talking out of Avatar, you know?
Yeah, I'd assume.
This would extend to like pretty much like
hearing
another stratosphere. Like you would be so high in that tree. If you think about how big a mountain
I'm
is.
thinking the Tree of Might right now for some reason.
The Tree of Life, yeah.
Yeah,
Tree of
of
Life.
course.
Yeah.
DBZ.
Yup.
So it's like if they cut down these trees and then after like let's say 5 million years, that hardened into some
Petrified. Into a stone.
into a stone,
Yeah,
into
weather-
minerals and everything. That'd be these mountains, and you know, there's a lot of evidence. I mean, there's some in Connecticut, Middletown.
I was about to say, what about the evidence? Well, I don't know. It's hard to trust education now, but what about
Right.
what about the evidence that the plates moved together and made those mountains? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, there's both. See, this is why I'm always thinking like, there's always this harmonic to it,
Word.
to where it's like everything's actually true, and like kind of false at the same time. Like everything has the harmony, to where like we would have those trees, and then yeah, that's true too. Like the tectonic plates, like
Okay.
Everest and all that. Like that's some other ancient stuff, you know?
Word. It makes me want to do more research
Right. Exactly.
on these natural mountains, man.
So that's one
They're
thing.
not,
Like
they're not
Right.
mountains.
right, they're all
tree
trees.
stumps.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Tree
saying.
stumps.
That's what I mean by natural mountains. The tree stumps. I gotta
Trip, right?
And just like you
It
said,
is.
you see how
I believe
tall the
it.
mountain is.
Yeah.
Imagine what was on top of it.
Of that tree.
And it's true. What's
It probably went on for miles.
And supposedly we were a lot bigger too in this time. Like 20 feet tall, you know, like literally like huge.
I bet before
We were
before
giants.
eating cooked food and stuff.
Right. Imagine the fruits from a tree that
Yo,
big.
the Tree of Might, like I was saying, yo, DBZ, you eat that fruit. And
There you
just,
go.
Wow,
See,
like that.
everything that they put into our programming,
I like where he be going,
movies,
man.
TVs, it's
Yo,
all programming, right? So everything they put in the
there's a
programming,
source for it.
they have to get it from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this now brings us back into that intuition and everything being everything, because you can't really even think outside of our realm.
Yo.
If you get what I'm saying, where like a lot of like
Under
when
the
you
dome.
get into like philosophy and some of these philosophers,
Yo,
they'll ask questions like, can you have an original thought?
real shit, because everything comes from something else. I wonder how you watch movies, yo.
I don't.
Okay, yo, when I watch movies, I'm seeing a whole other movie than
Right.
the other, yo.
I don't really watch movies much anymore. Once in a while, I watch a lot of African movies, to be honest with you.
Word.
Because I like their style of movies. It's got a whole different vibe. It's much more like artistic
Word.
and just like, I don't know, it's just powerful teachings.
Now, what would you say you watch? What kind of movies you watch?
I mean, like, primarily these like African movies from Africa.
Okay.
Like in the last couple months.
Where do you get them at? I would like to try
At the
that.
library, there's like, you know, they'll have a DVD and it'll have like it'll have two of these movies, you know, and they're old and it's like, you know, it's very like low key. It's not Hollywood cinematics, you know what I mean?
B-movie
But
style.
the morals, like the teaching and you know, like the energy of the movies, much more like profound, you know?
I bet, yo. Hollywood, like the movies be like, they feel like soul-snatching movies, yo.
Right.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Keep you seated for 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
You don't need
It's
that.
really, I mean, it's all connected because, like, even football has, like, 6 minutes of action in one football game. If you were to take a stopwatch and hike and then put it on and then to where, like, the play ended and then did that the whole game, it'd be, like, 6 to 8 minutes.
It's like 8 to 12 seconds or something like that per
Yeah,
play.
per one.
Per play.
And the rest of that is what?
And
Just
the rest of that is just, like,
extra
it's just taxes.
taxes.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, it's just like, yeah, you're just there, kind
And
of like,
commercials.
yeah, commercials. I mean, it's all for
Gotta
the
pay the
TV.
sponsors and all that good shit. Yeah.
So it's just like everything has its. Again, it's all about that harmonics. That's what I've really been focusing on recently. Is like, because it's about harmony. You know, being in harmony with life, being in that connection. And so, when like there's a harmony for your emotion, when you
Right.
feel a certain way, and maybe you don't want to feel that way, or you want to feel a certain way, and you feel this. You know, it's like.
Yeah, there's a way to get that, to get to it.
Yeah, it's actually through the opposition. Because, like, I can't take a breath in. Let's say I love breathing in more than I love breathing out. So then if I don't eventually breathe out, though, can't even have what I want, which would be my in-breath.
Yo.
Because I'm going to fill up. So
like
then
that.
once I'm full, okay, you're going to have to at least breathe out so you can have what you want
So
again.
you fill up again, yeah, that feeling.
Yeah.
You starving yourself from what you wanted in the first place.
So if you enjoy both, that's what I'm saying. If you enjoy both, you know, it's
Then you
like,
have balance, harmony.
then you have that balance. Where you're in the world, not of it, though.
Yeah.
Like, I still enjoy doing the work for the community.
Mhm.
I still love building, and I love gardening, and I love, like, you know, doing what I do. But at the same time, I'm going to still go out, you know, Peru. I'm going to still go out Cambodia. You know, I'm going to still go out and have my own experiences in my life. And, like, you know, save my money up so I can go on a trip or, you know, work on some business plans for myself and, you know, like doing, you know, doing things like that to be building your own projection because, you know, like, unless you built this house wasn't really built for you.
Exactly.
You know? So, like, the ceiling might be a little low if you're tall.
I know houses ain't built for me, period. Damn sinks, the countertops.
Everything, bro.
The tub
Everything.
ain't never been built for me.
No, the tub.
I'm damn near at my knees trying to wash my hands, yo, in the sink.
Yeah,
Tub
that's rough.
ain't never been built for me.
I gotta get my house built for me.
That's what I'm saying. We gotta just build our own, you know?
Yeah.
Build our house within the
And
house.
that's like, there you go. So that's, you know, there's many mansions. What is this? There are many
Rooms
in my father's mansion, right?
Yeah.
So it's just about your allotment,
Your room.
Right.
How your room gonna be?
what we've been given.
Mm.
And it's like, it's this like fifth dimensional room. It's not like a physical space, you know? Let us not be confined by our physical matter.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's
it's
how you.
like,
That's almost how you found.
it's a soul garden.
It's not
So
walls. You're not talking
Not walls.
walls. No.
But check it out too, because I love like law. Backwards is wall, right? And so when you hold these divine laws, it is like you're orchestrating a certain barrier, right? Because we have to have our,
It's like more like a protection, though.
it's like what we're talking about masculinity, right?
Yeah.
Like being a man, right? It's like we can't be too sensitive to certain things or else we're just going to be like, we're not going to be at where we could be in
Yeah.
our productivity,
In
right?
Our element.
In our element.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to have that structure, but at the same time have that sensitivity. That's why
Yeah.
it's really important to be in tap with our women, you know,
Yeah.
with our sisters,
Be in
our
tune-
mothers,
in
our
tune with
aunties,
your
our
feminine side.
Yeah.
You gotta be in touch with your
Be in
feminine
touch with
side,
that.
man.
because that's like cooking food.
Yep.
You know, that's like making music.
Mhm.
That's you know, making clothes and stuff. Like
Yeah.
making a garden. Like, you know, it's
Who
all
said that that's just for women?
right. And that's
Come on.
like,
I like
I'm
working in
over
the yard.
that. Shoot, I like art, making clothes and cooking. I like cooking.
exactly.
Sure, if I knew how to garden, I would garden too.
Man, listen, I like
Shit.
cooking. I love cooking.
It's a vibe.
You know what I mean?
Because we're all really like, check this one out. The baby in the womb for the first 2 months is female. Always, every time. You know how like when you have a child in the womb, they go and get the what's it called, that X-ray thing?
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound, but it has to be after a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah.
That you have to wait a couple months because it's going to be female before that. And then what happens is that the reproductive organs go external. So the ovaries, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Become
testicles.
fucking balls.
Pop out.
And
Wow.
it gets
And then the clit drops.
extroverted.
And then we stop.
Yeah.
We've heard such demographics before, but you know.
So
I
that's
how
like,
you break it down.
but that's what it is, you know.
Yeah,
So
let 'em break it
in a
down.
sense, it's
somebody
like-
don't know that.
That's exactly what it is.
it's like when we realize that we're actually all the same thing. You know, when we really see this, because that's like a fundamental thing in our own, just in your own body. But then how we see that being expressed between how I like to say is like density of melanin, right? Because the darker the melanin, they say older DNA, right? When you carbon date melanin, because melanin is carbon, when you carbon date it, the darker it is, the older, right, that DNA is. And so that puts us again in the, when you have that harmony, right? So that harmonics, where like, it's all about finding the harmony within the polarity and how to integrate, you know, where it's like, okay, I'm a man,
Yeah.
but if you're really, if you can interpret yourself also as being a woman, in a sense that you come from a womb, right? Because I'm a womb man, like I come from a womb.
Deep.
Yo,
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
appreciate. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So even like man, right? Even masculine
Yo.
is spelled M-A is first. Ma is masculine, right? So when you really, because things have been so inverted in our reality. Like the real Christianity, they weren't messing with the kids. You know what I mean? They were like helping the kids because they're the ones closest tapped into the God realm, which is creative spontaneity. You know, children are very spontaneous. That's like how God. That's how free we can be in our creative aspect. You know. And so yeah, it's really like it's the inverted nature of our society now at this point.
Yeah, they want to take that child, that youthful bounce from you.
Right, exactly.
By having you work. By the time you're 40, 50 years old, you don't even got the childhood imagination.
Your mind is, I mean, it's pretty much probably gone by 20 anyway.
And then we shun it. We shun adults that still have a childlike imagination.
Right.
We need that with maturity to really
need
be
that
one.
creative spark, man. It's like, because that's the artist.
That's the artist in you.
That's why I coach, man. Try to stay youthful.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
That's why I tell jokes, man. I like to make people laugh.
Yeah, that's
man.
important.
You gotta laugh, man. Life is too stressful not to laugh
It's
at all.
too stressful not to laugh.
Laugh at yourself. I laugh at myself sometimes. I done did some dumb shit in my life.
You know,
and learn lessons from it.
If at first you don't succeed, maybe skydiving's not for you. You know, I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just how it had to go, you know?
Yo.
But, you know, it's like, so within that nature, what we have, like as men, because we're three men here, right? So what we have is a inverted perspective of mature masculinity. Because even mature is ma again, right?
Yeah.
So mature masculinity, you have mama right there in abbreviations, right? So it's really about respecting, right, that earth and your family and like your mother, of course, right? Yeah. In life, but also like the celestial mother, who for me is represented by the earth, you know, and the father being the sky, right? So it's that like coming together that creates the child, right? And that's who we are as children, and that's why I feel like, you know, the father. They say the ghost because they took woman out of the equation. So they say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? The Holy Spirit, but that's really the woman. But they knew that because if you come to with a perception, a lens, to invert what they've already inverted, this is what you have to do because it's already been inverted.
Yeah, first time.
So you have to invert then that right? Because if they're saying God's white, right? Jesus being white. Okay, now I'm going to invert that. So then he's probably black. Well, and is even Jesus his real name? And then if you do some research, you come across the ancient texts.
So much
you'll come across, because J is not in the Hebrew alphabet. The letter J is not in the Hebrew alphabet. Jesus was a Jew. So even Jew would not be proper. See, they weren't even Jews. They were Hebrews. See, there's all these wordings that really, they do play a big role, you know?
Words.
You can just say it's semantics, potato, you know, but if you say potato, I'm going to say, where are you from, bro?
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, because it's like, that's cool. Like, I'm no judgment. I'm just like, what you say, potato? Tomato? Like, what are you, Italian? Like,
right.
Not to like...
Tarjay.
Exactly. So it's, when you really start digging at it, what I've learned to do is like this, like a Tai Chi within my mind, so that as I'm learning things, I can then compartmentalize them in the proper order.
Yeah.
So then I can actually think and be able to use my mind as the supercomputer it is, and be able to navigate the external, because now I can navigate my internal properly. And so to come full circle about that, like mature masculine, it's like, because this is what I really feel to be such an integral part of our society. It's like really holding that position as a man, and being like, not just like a man's man with the Harley, and the, because that's like this overt ego trying to, it's like an insecurity, making up for...
False persona.
Exactly. So if you're really strong, like people that are really strong, they don't really want to hurt anybody. Like they're really even extra careful. Because I know I carry a lot of weight. So if I'm going around the corner, I'm very careful because I know, like I've hurt people before actually being not careful. I remember one time I was skiing and I was going crazy fast, right? And this one person, this lady was going like this. And I was on my own side and she just came and she was going real slow and we just, I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I had to stop. I'm like, are you okay? Like, she was like, oh my God, I'm hurt. You know, I'm like,
Man.
oh my gosh, this is horrible. You know, I had to go, like, go down there to get the stretcher and all the thing, you know?
Skiing. Imagine how fast that impact was, yo.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly, you know? But that's like, I'm big, you know? If I was a smaller, you know, if it was a smaller thing, maybe I would have been the one to be hurt. So you start to realize real strength is in, like, vulnerability, right? Real strength and real confidence is in, like, how vulnerable you can allow yourself to be. I mean, I think this is, and it's a balance, of course. It's always a balance, you know? Because it, like, breaks my heart to see, like, the first thing I thought of when I saw Nipsey, when I heard about that, I was like, where were his homies?
Yeah, what was his people?
Like, how was he at his shop? Like, how does that happen?
How did
like
that happen?
you know?
Unless it was orchestrated.
It was orchestrated.
And then I saw the video and I saw dudes running.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who are these people running then? And if I was his homie, like, and I knew what Nipsey was doing for the world, I would have.
Yo,
Maybe I wouldn't have, because, you know,
we don't know.
we never know when it comes. But it's like,
consciousness that make you be like,
I would have went and tried, I would have helped, I would have jumped in, like, are you kidding me? Like, that's,
Oh, those just plants.
right, that's how I feel about it too. So, it's definitely,
Hold on right quick.
you know, a lot going on,
Pause that right quick.
Cool.
Not to cut you off, though.
No, that's
but
cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's,
I shouldn't have drank so much water before I sat down.
But it was a hit, though.
yeah. You gotta get up.
No, I'll be
Yeah.
alright. I'll make it.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
Yeah, man, it's like, when you really start to study and advance and, like, travel and learn other languages. Like, this is what I would prescribe. Because, look, scribe is the right? So, it's like language, man, is so integral in our lives, right? Like, if I didn't speak English, I wouldn't be here. Like, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be speaking English being here right now.
Right.
So, you know, it's like when you can basically expand your perception of life through language, because you'll start to see things different.
See from other people's perspectives.
Yeah. And it's really like almost giving your own self more opportunity to see it for your own personal perspective.
You're getting more range now.
Where, like, I can see it as red, I can see it as rouge, I can see it as rojo, you know, and that's just Latin based.
Widening your own horizon.
You're widening your own thing, you know? So it's like, because if you widen that for yourself, then you have, because the thing about life is like being a bridge builder is what I feel we need the most in our world. Being able to connect
with
bridges,
To other
Connect
people.
with other
making
people,
bridges,
Bridge cultures.
and then they can cross, and people can cross, and then it can be, there can be,
Communication.
They can integrate with each other.
right,
Yeah.
because I've noticed how closed societies are, right? There's definitely closed societies, and that's like, like, you know, I mean, I'm out in the burbs, right? And there's like nobody, man. I'm walking around, there's no one around. You know, everyone's inside, pretty much, you know? You never really meet many people.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, there's certainly people that I grew up with in Farmington that probably never come to Hartford, and they'll never go into the North End, probably, or, like, any end, really, other than the West End. But, you know, they'll be at, like, Desane or whatever, like, Half Door, maybe. But, like, you know, that's if they go to Hartford at all, you know, and they've lived in Farmington their whole lives, you know, or Avon or wherever, you know.
So like that.
And for me, like, I'm empathetic, you know. I hurt if the earth is hurting, like, I'm hurting. You know, if I see a video of some shit, or if I know something's going on, you know, like, I hurt, like, I feel it, like, and I can't not feel it, and I want to feel it, right? Because that's the sensitivity that I'm talking about. You know, it's being sensitive to other people. This is straight up. So if it's pain, then it's going to be pain. But
It's everybody's pain.
it's everybody's pain, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's everybody's water. It's everybody's air. It's everybody's earth.
Yep.
It is.
So
Sure enough it is.
if someone's polluting it somewhere, then we're all getting,
We're all going
hit.
to feel it in the end.
yeah.
An hour later in the end.
So people, like, you know, it's really that divide and conquer. You know, that is the main tactic. You know, if you read the, like, what is this book? laws of war and all these
Yeah.
like ancient books on like how to, 48 laws of power and all this stuff. It's really about dividing.
How to control people.
Yeah, through division though.
Yeah.
And like,
As long as they keep us fighting each other.
right, fight, right? Because it's in the newspapers, right?
Distracted.
You have the bullet, the bulletin,
The bullets.
the press, right? The press, like the down press,
The press.
the press, the bulletin. I mean, it's like, it's all
In the words.
in the words, because they can't hide it. Because they, basically English is, I don't think they finished it.
Yeah, yo.
It's actually not like a finish.
I was thinking about this the other day. Our language is one of the craziest freaking
Yeah.
languages. Like
Yeah,
the
it
words
is.
we have.
Yeah,
The double letters.
The double letters.
Letters that make
That be silent.
that's
Right.
yeah.
Just take them motherfuckers out then.
The K and the Q.
right.
My last
Right,
name, the
makes
GH-T. The GH don't even make a noise.
I mean, here's the thing, a concept of writing. Here's what it comes down to, I feel like, is when you're writing it down, right? And if you write it correctly, that concept that you can write something wrong, to me, that's the division, that right there. So now you have a right and a left.
What do you mean, like misspell a
Like
word?
it's spell is magic, right?
Yep.
So if you misspell, then you're not going to conjure, or something won't happen the way you thought it would, right?
Oh shit.
That's right. Go ahead. yo.
So it's like when you're writing these words,
shit.
it's not that's just like
Like,
arbitrary.
Like if I want to write it how I think it sound in my head.
That's
And-
fine
And
to
if,
me.
somebody, and if somebody reads it and they pronounce it how I heard it,
That's cool.
communication
What's
has been
wrong
had.
with that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I was
So
thinking about that too. You
it's
can
a
make up your own
distraction.
words.
It's just a distraction set because what do we do when we're in school, right? It's English, right? What do you even, because like, this is what they should be studying in English, is etymology. Learning where does English come from. Like, if I tell you the word like construction, right? How are we going to break that down then? Like how, because this is what really fundamentally young children should be learning this. Ultimately, like let's break down construction. Con is Greek, or no, it's Latin for with, right? So in Spanish, con means with. Struct is like structure, right? So, I don't know what the Latin word is, but you can see the similarities. Obviously, struct is short for structure. And then shun to me actually means like Zion. Tion or Zion, Sion. It's like about, because to me Zion is what you make it. Like we're already living in heaven. It's just about how we're perceiving our heavenly realm. Because if you don't know the creator of this realm, if you're not in tune with the Most High, then you're not even going to be able to acknowledge that you're in heaven. Because it's just kind of like, it's the ladder, right? Steps. So when we think about these words and then about writing them and spelling them down, it's like, I mean, how many years do we spend fucking like trying to just memorize stuff? Like, you're never going to need to know actually, like, if you know the word, how it sounds, how to basically scribble that down, it's like writing, I mean, it's powerful. Knowledge is power. But
It's also binding.
It's binding.
Yeah.
Because if you know, now you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're aware of it.
But I think, personally, experiencing is much more powerful.
I was about to say it's binding like a game of basketball. Like if you play with it, no one ever plays without out of bounds. But if there was no out of bounds,
Right. It'd be a
it'd
different
be
game.
a different game.
Right.
But because we're aware of the lines,
Sir!
it's in a box now.
See, those are those walls that I was talking about. That's the law.
That's what societies do to us.
Right. And they claim, here's the trippy part, is that they claim it to be just, right? In God we trust.
Graham.
They claim it to be
Right.
under, under the laws of the Most High, but it's clearly not.
Nah, yeah, it was crazy.
Some originals. Yeah, so it's definitely cosmic, man. Life is just so much more vast than even the farthest reaches we can fathom, It's like, but through language, that's really like, alright, for example, I was living in Peru last year for about 8 months,
Nice. 8 months.
and one of their ancient languages there is called Quechua, and you might know some Quechua, for example, quinoa. You've heard of quinoa? This no, y'all never heard quinoa? It's grain. This is really good grain. This is like quite popular now. I mean, you can get it like every grocery store, you know. And it's huge in Peru. It's like their main food in Peru.
Probably in Seatown, I can give you some of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And that's a Quechua word anyway. But in this society, right, in the Incan world, like they didn't write anything down, ever. Now that's not to say they didn't have language. Like they had a very vast language, but they never wrote anything down. They didn't have books or anything like that. They didn't need them. You know, there was no purpose for them because their schools were like mystery schools. So as a child, you went to school to learn about the mysteries of life. Like you went to go learn about water and the rivers and like where the water come from, you know, and what is water. You know, you go to the mountains and the rainforest to learn about animals. And
life taught you.
Life,
and
exactly.
that knowledge came from your ancestors that passed down.
Exactly.
I was talking about that too. Like education was, knowledge was different. We weren't educated. We would learn from experience.
Right. We're informed.
Informed. Yes.
We're like, because it's like, to me, there's information, then there's knowledge, and then there's wisdom. So information is just kind of like what's given to you.
It was given to you.
Like what someone wants you to know.
Given to you. Yeah.
You know how to get a job, so you go to school, so you know how to get a job.
It's like a form, right? Fill out the form.
Yep.
So inform. So it's like, we're going to give you this information, and then you fill out this form, and then you sign it, and you've signed over your thing.
12 years of grade school.
So
now you're ready to work.
It's all contract. There are these like contracts. Birth certificates, it's like contract stuff.
Yep. We just found that out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, once you start looking into sovereignty, and what sovereignty means, like being really like your own independent nation. Sovereignty of yourself, right? Like, just like being your own, like, universe in a sense. And claiming independence from the laws of, because really, like, the United States isn't really like, I mean, this isn't their land.
It's not. Can you legally, can you legally claim yourself as a separate entity?
Right.
Right within the United States. That's like you be your own damn country.
No, you can. And that's what, I mean, there are Native American countries within this country, and they can do whatever they want there, right? They grow herb and, North Dakota and New York.
Gotta get a part of that.
Do they pay taxes on that, though?
Yeah.
No, they don't have to pay taxes.
No?
No, they're their own. They're their own entity.
That's crazy.
What
if more than 50% of the country wanted to live like that? That would literally destroy the government.
Think about trust funds. Right? Religions don't pay tax. So you can start your own. You can start your own religion. That's the thing about the United States that makes it actually this like righteous place is that it was written actually in like Moorish law. The book is called the Black's Law Dictionary.
Yo, dude was talking about that. He was talking about that.
The Black's Law Dictionary. And so I feel as though, I don't know, that terminology to denote people, to me is like kind of arbitrary, But since our world, like, we use that, right? Black people, white people, But like, I'm not really white. Like, I'm pink or tan or, that's not the exact pigmentation. Like, if you scan this at Home Depot, it's gonna come up sand or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
it's not white like your shirt, or
nah, man. So
black like this.
It's like Black's Law Dictionary, and this sort of, man, it's like really what we have to come to. And a lot of people are doing this. A lot of people are making these movements, and I've seen a video recently of this one brethren down in, like, I don't know where it was, but it was in the south, and he had his Moor flag, because it's basically Moorish land.
Saw that video.
And he had the paperwork, and he said, "You can't do shit to me.
Yeah.
You can't do shit to me. You don't have authority over me. Like, this isn't your land. And he'd show him the flag, and they...
That's what I was talking about, doing stuff like that in this country and with society. Yo, you can't come up against their regime. You illegal. You start doing shit like that, they gonna send the cops at you. Military, you a terrorist.
Right. But it's like, what's really interesting that they're doing though is they're taking away all their protection within our country. Actually, like they're
taking away your privacy, your rights.
Well, that too.
Security.
But what I'm talking about is, like, there's this one part within our within our, I don't know if it's like the CIA, but it's like there's this one section within our Homeland Security
Okay.
about like terrorism within the country. And they're basically not, they ended that department actually, which was like, you know, basically like researching terrorist cells within the country, which would probably be more or less white supremacist factions, right?
Nationalist movements.
Nationalist movements.
But those are clearly, with the hate crimes that they do, that's clearly terrorism.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
straight up.
Organized.
It's organized.
Organized.
But it's kind of like in the White House, it's only going to be the whitewash, you know? So it's terrorizing, like, it's not terrorizing them.
That's what I'm saying. White supremacy still run the world.
Right.
The structure is still there.
Well, definitely the states, you know, because like when you have like China, because it's like all the world governments have a different. It's kind of like how we have Fox News, Fox 61, right? But then if you go to Boston, it's a whole nother Fox channel.
Yeah.
So like we never see what's going on in Boston. We only see maybe if it's a major story, but
Major story.
you know, like that marathon, whatever, right? But like you're never seeing like random stuff in Boston that's just like in their Fox News channel.
Yep, never.
So we all have our own compartmentalized thing. So like we have this in the States, but like, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Like being down in Peru, you know, I would tell somebody like, you know, Spanish wasn't that's not their native tongue here. Like they had a language before Spanish, and people will be surprised. I'm like, well, yeah, they're like Peruvians. They're not Spanish, you know. And I often ask my Latin friends too. I'm like, you know, Latin is the language of Rome. So, you know, and if you like identify as Latin, but then you also want to like break down the like colonialist structure, but you're identifying as Latino, like that's literally the language of the operative. Like they still, the only country, because the Vatican is actually a nation. It's not in Italy. It's its own sovereign. Wow. The Vatican itself is its own sovereign entity.
Its own government.
Its own government.
Own everything.
And they speak Latin there.
Wow.
Right? So if you identify as Latino, I mean, I'm just saying in semantics, because of course, like people that identify as Latino, that's such a vast thing. You can be from Peru, you can be from Puerto Rico, you could be from Mexico.
That's everything.
You could be from Spain and still identify as Latino.
Latino, yep.
You know, so it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like if you're going to get into the divisions, be accurate with it, you know, be as precise as possible. Where like, I would never say I'm white, like I'm Irish, you know, I identify more as Native American than anything else because I'm from here. Like I was born here. So I'm native to this land, which we would identify as North America. So like, how can I say I'm even like, oh, my name's Frechette, my ancestors came from France or whatever, right? How can I say I'm even French? Like, I don't speak French very fluently. I've been to France a couple times. Yeah. You know, I travel a lot, but like...
Never been to Africa.
You know?
How can I be African American?
Right. I mean, and that's what to me is like so powerful about our times.
Yep.
Is that like both of us can sit right now and say that we're American, and yet we're like, wait, how can you both say, well, what do you mean, man?
We're born here. We're born here.
So it's almost like how I was talking about before about how all the horrible things that they've been doing to us for so long, especially, you know, Africans within the diaspora in North America, or black people, if you will, like the horrible things that they've traumatized. Yeah. If that wasn't happening, right? Or if like we were really like the intention was an integration and was a harmony from 500 years ago, or from 1,000 years ago, or from 10,000 years ago, what type of world we would live in?
The world would look so different.
So I just like, I'm riding off of that vision of the unity and the togetherness and the love, you know, and the gratitude across the spectrums, because black and white are the polarities, right? And so within black and white, inside that spectrum is all the colors. That's where you get the rainbow.
Yep.
So on one end you have black, one end you have white, and then you have the spectrum of colors. So if black and white find the harmony, then all the spectrum finds the harmony.
True.
Right? So that's kind of like what I feel like is part of my task, part of my life, part of my dharma, if you will, like part of my path, my journey in this life, is to be building those bridges,
Bridges.
you know? And because you know, it's like natural, bro, right? I go to open mic, hit the words right, you know, you're like, yo, I want him on the show. You know, it's like, it's all this,
Yeah.
it's just a natural
It's
progress.
nothing but love, man. When
It's
you're
just
not,
nothing but love.
You're not seeing through society's goggles.
Right, it's
through
true.
Race, religion, and, you know, color and all that. You know, you're seeing through society's goggles.
Judgment, straight
Judgment.
up. Just judgment.
Living in other countries, man, like you were saying, you know, you get to, you know, perceive the world from other people's languages. Like, I've been to, for example, I've been to church overseas. Like when I was in the military, I was overseas for 4 years. They whole worship is different. Their whole experience is different. The way they love each other, the way they do for one another, it's just like, you know, that's only one region that I was in. You know, exposed into being in different regions. It's another language, another life language, another life skill. And you come back to the States and you see how tyrannical and how wicked we are, yo.
And nobody really has many skills. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't really have, where you go to these other countries, people can do shit, man. They can wire their house. They can, like, fix the toilet, the plumbing's, like, they all...
You'd be surprised what they could do.
Yeah. And out here, we're just, like, you know, call somebody or, like, you know...
Yeah. We depending on others.
On others, which is cool in a sense that, like, it helps us come together. But ultimately, it's... You know, when it's money-based, though.
What are you doing, man?
We do that instead of talking over people.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Or you like the damn Wile E. Coyote.
That's a nice touch, though.
I know,
That's
like
a nice
that.
touch. Because then you gotta, like, people are watching, you know, and then you want to watch because they look at the shout out.
Yeah, you know.
It's a nice touch, man.
Plus people talking, you know.
Right, true. Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
This is meat right here, man. I'm learning some shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Give thanks for the reasoning tonight, guys. Yeah, man.
Yeah. For real. Definitely gonna watch this over, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Because, yo, I mean, you know, most I knows, man, how much I take in. Like, I read so much. I listen to so much discourse, so many teachings.
Yeah. Facts.
Hours. Like, I fall asleep to this. I wake up to this. I'm reading this every day, studying this, you know, every day. So I know that one day I'm going to have more and more opportunity and environment to share. That's just going to be happening when it's ready. So it's like interactions like this where it's like, okay, I'm slowly, like, because I'm just 30 right now. So
building those bridges.
I'm just like, really, they say 30 is actually when you, that's like when maturity starts. When you become 30. And when you...
How old are you?
31.
31? Word. Cool.
I believe the same way. Like between 30 and 33 is when, like, you really...
That's when you really begin.
You really beginning finding knowing who you are. You've been through enough experiences to kind of, you know,
Get a
define your own
perspective.
Yeah.
Understanding. Yeah, man, it's true. And, like, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, astrologically, right, it's, I believe Saturn. Yeah. Saturn, it's called your Saturn returns. So Saturn takes 30 years to revolve around the Earth, right? Or for us, you know, for 30 years for that orbit to take place.
Yeah.
So Saturn is like time, right? Saturn is like the truth, too. Saturn is like laws, and actually, it's a very powerful planet, Saturn. It has actually a, like a Star of David, or like the hexagon on its pole. If you look at, if you look up like the pole of Saturn, you'll see this perfect hexagon, which is the Star of David, which is like the 6 sides, which is like a Metatron. It's like the Metatron's cube, right? Which also you would see in a corner. Like when you look at a corner of a wall, you can actually, you know, if you look at the center of it, you would see after a long enough, is it going in or is it coming out? The cube appears, right?
Okay.
So that is like Saturn. It's kind of like the structure. It's that law. So it takes 30 years for it to come back around. So when you're born, obviously it's right there. And you're like, you know, when you're born, that's when, I mean, it's like so much is happening so fast, the growth and development, you know? So for those first 3 years, you're developing so much in your roots, your root chakra, like who your parents are, the language, like your body's like actually now being affected by gravity.
You're absorbing so much of those 3 ages.
Yeah. And then after after what, that'd be like 27, 28 years later, that energy comes back around to where now you're thinking again about like, okay, who am I, right? What am I doing in life? It's like really about the, you could say crisis, but you know, that's just their silly way of wording things. That's just some like Cambridge, Harvard, you know, it's just like some whitewash way of expressing how when you're 30, it's time, if you haven't already, it's time to like, all right, settle down a little bit, get grounded, like where you live. Do you have a house? Do you have a garden? You know, like if the whole world went away tomorrow, would you be all right?
Facts.
You know, do you have some potatoes in the cellar? Yeah. Like you got the seeds? Like do you have, you know, are you
prepared?
Are you prepared for life? Because
you sustain yourself now.
If you're about to launch out for another 30 years, right? If that Saturn's about to go out for, all right, see ya. You know, you had that time to like finalize. I'm about to come back in 30 more years. You know, so it's like, it's kind of like planting those seeds again when you're 30 to really like get in that zone of self, because what'll happen then, like what you'll meet, and like when my father's like 67. Right, so what I started to notice when he went 60, it's like he started to have that crisis again, where he didn't really know, like he was unsure, because probably he never really had that situation, because, you know, no one's really telling you to plant a garden, you know, no one's really like,
you're right, telling you to invest in yourself.
Because that's really the best thing you can do. Just the energy you will get from watching that seed grow, and like take that seed, because I'll sprout inside. So I sprout a plant, and then when it's like that, I'll take it outside, put it in the earth, you know? And like, you have to have so much faith, yo. Like, you take a little seed, put it in the soil, right? Completely black, you know, dark, dirt. They say dirt is dirty, but like dirt is actually rich, right?
Rich.
Black gold, right? You put that seed in, and then you cover it. You put it in that darkness, right, of the soil, and then you cover it with the soil. And it's completely dark, right? And it's like, yo, you just have to be faithful, right? Like if you're growing this food,
watch it.
If you're planting the seed to eat, like that's what your survival is based on. Like, you better have some faith that thing's gonna grow.
Cherish it, take care of it.
Some little seed, like nothing, like what is this even? You could just eat it, like you could crush it.
Yeah, people lived by faith back then without
and that thing's gonna be a whole tree. Mustard, you know? Faith of a mustard seed, right?
Sit there and watch it grow.
And then you watch it grow, and that's like,
your faith being rewarded. Now when you go plant another seed, you got more faith. You almost sure it's gonna grow this time. You seen the last one.
It's like it's almost like a sure thing. At that point, I plant seeds now like crazy. Like I'll do my techniques of farming and gardening now are so like spontaneous.
That green.
Yeah, I got green thumb. Yeah, I love plants, man.
I wish I had it, yo, cause you gotta learn how to grow your own food.
I mean, yo, there's a greenhouse. You know, it's just about step by step. You know, getting involved. Like there's a greenhouse quite close to here. I can't remember what it's called, but he's right outside of that entrance to Keeney Park for 91. You know where that 91 like off ramp and on ramp is?
Yeah, Shell station.
Is there a Shell station right there? I think so.
That entrance?
I'm not. Oh no. It's like up in that area though. It's pretty much in I think that'd be Bloomfield.
Oh, I
but
think
it's
I know
like
what you're
right there.
About. Yeah.
And there's this greenhouse. You know, he's got like 3 greenhouses. You know, so it's just like, and I can give you the information later. Like, you know, I can link it up. It's really like just taking small steps to, you know, to get into on that direction. You know,
getting some land is
getting some land, right?
Paramount.
Right, that's a big thing. I mean,
you gotta move out your apartment every 2 years.
Yeah, it's hard to have. See what I'm saying about the roots, the groundedness.
Yeah.
Because if you're like if you don't have a house.
If you don't have a house, you almost can't.
You can't really do much. But you see, like most people are in that situation.
Yeah.
So that's where like everything, like just to bring it back really super full circle back to Curry. Right? It's just like, just because society deems marriage to be this way, it's like, yo, first of all, everyone's emotions, everyone's feelings are valid. So if that's what she wants to talk about, then I want to, you know, yo, she should at least be able to talk about it.
Yeah, without society
smacking. Yeah, man, it's like, let her at least express. That's something she wants to express.
But wouldn't that be something you would want to express at home?
I feel you, but, you know, it's like, it's like, I mean, I could see how for her, sitting around that table with, you know, these other, like, powerful women, you know, to, like, express that in that environment to where, like, yeah, she's going to say it to Steve or whatever, her husband, you know, or, like, someone, you know, it's just like, what's he going to say? He's like, yeah, but you're mine, baby, you know, it's like, he's not really going to give her what she wants.
The response she wants.
Because he, like, in a sense, see, this is what you start to see is that, like, women have been treated as property for so long, right? Where, like, nobody wants to feel like that, obviously, right? So, you know, she just wants to feel like at least desirable, right? Don't people want to go to the gym to feel in shape so we look good, we feel good? People see us, you know, a woman might see you, wow, he's, you know, he's strong, like, I bet has discipline. You know, it's not always just about the look, because someone might see you being fit and say, wow, he's fit. You know, you have to be disciplined to be strong. So, in that sort of way, right?
Yeah.
To be physically fit. So, you know, they're going to see that and say, wow, he's got discipline. So, he's probably, like, financially, you know, on a certain level of security. He's, you know, because of, you know, there's, like, way more beyond just what is the surface, right? So
people can see one thing and go 5 levels deep just on what they just
especially
saw.
women, especially women, because they're deep. They're the womb. You know, they're like the depths of the waters, right? So ultimately, it's like they're gonna take if they're so inclined. Obviously, there's a lot of, you know, fluoride in the water, fluoride in toothpaste. You know, there's a lot of elements that shut down our intuitive sense, and also it's like bringing back that sensitivity. You know, it's like if you are sensitive in an insensitive world, you're going to want to be insensitive because it's like until you find that space where you can be open and be sensitive, like someone like Prince, for example, where, like, if would people rather not have the music of Prince than have Prince be who he was? You got what I'm saying? Where, like, without his love and sensitivity for who he was, we would never have been able to have his music. You can't have one without the other.
You can't.
And so it's kind of like, it's a respect thing, you know? It's like art, what is really art, and, you know, heart is like right there, you know? So, because real art comes from your heart. And that's like why food, culinary art, like real good tasting food, like, it just comes from your heart. It's love. It's a love thing. And it can really change the taste of food. You know, it's really a thing.
Real shit, facts.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, that's how I've been feeling more and more about society since I've been developing in my own, you know, my own life, and having had the opportunity to travel, experience like a real soul freedom. You know, I've been to certain communities, hippie communities and stuff, where you're encouraged to be yourself and to be expressive in yourself, and you're encouraged to, like, live how you want to live and to wear what you want to wear, you know, say what you want to say when you want to say it, right? So again, like, because she said that there to spark that, because these are the things that need to be sparked, because really we're in a stage of frozen. People are frozen. People are closed off and frozen. They have a cold heart. People are cold. You know, and is that because we have to deal with snow for 4 months? I think so. You know, so I think being more in the tropical regions has changed my life, for sure.
I've heard that too.
And it'll change. And that's the equilibrium.
Energy.
That's equality. That's like, you know, the days and the sun and the moon, it's like the same amount of daylight every day for the whole year. You know, it doesn't really change much in Costa Rica. It's like maybe by like 45 minutes throughout the whole year. To where us, it's like we're up here. So, like we're up here, right? Costa Rica's there. So we're up here, and now our nights are like really long, right? You know, sun's up at like 7:15, 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then it's like, okay, here's spring. And then there's like summer, to where now we have like longer days than night. Where Costa Rica's still just chilling there.
Yo, I heard about that Costa Rica movement, yo.
Yo, it's a vibe.
Yo, I heard about Costa Rica, and there's another spot, Honduras, where people are living off the map.
Yep.
But yo,
Yeah, you probably heard of Nature Boy, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Didn't they just capture him and throw him in the slammer?
No, I don't think so.
There was footage. They got him in his camp, the embassy.
In Mexico?
No, in Costa Rica.
Wow. How long ago was that?
Cows.
Was that at the airport? The airport thing?
That was, I heard about that probably a good couple years ago.
Okay, so that was like way back. He's
back out there now?
He's like on a whole nother level now.
Yeah, 'cause my brother follows him and stuff like that.
I love him, bro, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really follow him, like,
I don't, you know,
like, religiously or anything, but
to each his own, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like with the,
I definitely appreciate what he's doing for the world, you know? Because he's really giving the knowledge, like, he's
it's
really
sad
putting
when
it out
the
there.
embassy did the home though. It's sad
Right.
though. Like,
Yeah.
when I saw that, it made me feel like, you know, if you're going out to try to start your own thing, the government, the system is gonna remind you where you
Can't
at.
do that.
Right.
Just like the slaves when they escaped up north. If the owners came and got you from up north, you gonna get beat and dragged back down south.
That's how it was, huh?
That's what they did. They
Wow.
whooped them boys up on video and brought them back to the States.
Wow. That's
Property,
right.
passport, birth certificate. We was talking about that. Social Security, we're still property, yo. Unless you disband all that stuff, America will come get you wherever you at.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all like you know what a birth, what birth means for a ship. So like when a ship comes into the harbor, it's birthed into the harbor. They actually call that a canal, because you go into this canal thing, and then the boat is like up out of the water then. And that's called the birth canal, right?
Word. Oh,
And then everything that came off that boat, right, for trade, like when they were doing the sugar and whatever, everything that was taken off the boat received a birth certificate as proof that, let's say it was 50 pounds of bananas, was received and docked in wherever that port was, right? London or wherever, New London, whatever, right? It's all Virginia, or whatever port.
The system.
So they got the birth certificate to prove that it was there and that it's a property of Johnson & Johnson or whatever the corporation is
It, right?
that owns it. And then that thing was sent with the birth certificate to the thing. So all the evidence is there, and then it's like, okay, you have your birth certificate. You can never say you didn't receive it. They signed it, 2 copies, and then boom. That's
contract.
And that's what we are. When we come out of the canal, we sign the birth certificate, you get the social security number.
So a birth certificate is basically a receipt.
Yeah, in a sense.
You might as well.
Yeah.
Property of the United States.
Sound just
It's proof that you are like in bondage to your
That's what it
property
is.
of the corporation of the United States. Because there's a difference.
Federal government.
There's different legislative things going on where it's like I don't say I'm from the United States, I say I'm from America. Like I'm American in the sense that America, I believe that word to be like an ancient vibration. Amara, Amaruka, because it's all about accent, right, and how you're gonna say it.
True.
Because really, Amaru in Peru, Amaru is his name was Tupac Amaru. This is where Tupac comes from. Amaru means serpent, right? So it's once you start to, again, learn these languages and see what because the vibration, the sound that you make is like an energy across time, right? And English is much more of a weak language. We're not really able to manifest things from words so well.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be able to with language, but due to how we actually, I feel, utilize our tongue and our mouth, because it's like when you put the tongue to the roof of your mouth, that is in a sense like flicking the switch. It's actually connecting your meridian points, because your energy is coming up your spine, right? And then it's coming down and it's arcing down. And so when you connect your tongue to the roof of your mouth, then the circuit's complete and the energy can circulate.
Deep shit.
So when in Spanish, for example, you rojo, right? You roll, you
Is that
roll.
when they roll the R's?
And in French, como ça va, Como tu te appelles?
A lot of other languages roll their R's.
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying. The English language have taken away a lot of power that we would have with our words.
A lot of accent. You don't really need an accent with English. Where if you say words, like for example in Chinese, ma, like if I say ma or ma, it's all different, it means different stuff. Like it can mean cow.
The tone.
Or it could mean mother, right. The tone, the accent.
Yeah. Wow.
So, like when you say America, like I can say America, right?
Yep.
Or I can say Amaruca.
Yo, I like it.
Right.
It even felt different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, of course. And that's,
vibration.
I mean, that's like, you know, that's obviously, we can say that like with any word, right? Yo, that's bad, man. What you talking about? That's sick, man. That's, you know, I really like it. That's nasty. What?
Yeah,
like, wow, man. Like, really? Like when people be like, sometimes I can't tell. You know, it's like, really? Like, I can't, oh man, that's sick. I'm like, I automatically think of sick as being something bad.
Yeah, ill.
Ill, yeah.
On your deathbed.
Right.
Yeah. That's what
So, it's kind of like, it's interesting.
Language is up to...
Language is really powerful, man.
It's up to
The words.
perception.
The
It's
words.
the words.
Our world, right? In the beginning was the word,
The word.
right? And it didn't come back void, like it came back creating, like an echo. It comes back with substance, you know? So when we put things out there,
Yep.
it's going to come back, right? Like, hey,
Words are powerful.
hey, what's your name? My name's Gavin. Oh, hey, Gavin. It's like now they're going to know, or at least think, because I could say anything. I could say my name's T-shirt. And you'd be like, oh, what's up, shirt?
Right?
I could say bottle. Like, I could say anything. Derek, or whatever, right?
Yep.
And
It's on you, yeah.
and it's real in a way.
Yeah, because you responded to what you asked.
I could, that's what I go by now, actually. I go by a water bottle. What's good, you know? And who's to say, like, oh, that's not your name? It's like, okay, what are you going to call me?
Yeah,
now?
you're right.
That was your answer to the question.
So,
You're right.
really, like, here's another another perspective with the words is anagrams and the Kabbalah. So basically, like, all the letters in the alphabet are numbers 1 through 26, and when you add up those numbers, it's going to equal a certain energy. It's going to equal a certain number, and then that number is like a certain energy. So there's, again, when we're like talking about harmonics, everything has a positive, a negative, and a neutral. And really in the tense, the goal is to be in the neutral. Because, like, let's say this is positive and this is negative, right? Oh, don't be negative, be positive. Okay, whoa, no, your fault. No, be.
Yeah, you want to be right.
You want to be right in between, holding both that balance, right? And so in the words, like, you have L-I-V-E, right, which would be live, and then if you spell that backwards, it would be E-V-I-L, which would be evil, right? So there's an inherent energy in the words that is going to carry an energy no matter how you are lining it up.
Wow.
So what I was going to say is, like, name, N-A-M-E, is an anagram, right? Same letters, but you change them for Amen, right? Now, if you look into Amen, Amen comes from Kemet, comes from Africa, from Egypt, right? You'll find Amen Ra. So, Amen Ra, Ra being the sun god, right? And what I've learned Amen to be is the nameless, like the formless. He who cannot be named is what Amen is, right? So it's like he who cannot be named from the sun, right? And that would be like our celestial Christ, right? Our celestial crystal. Because it's like you can't put a name on it because then you're taking away from the power.
Okay.
Like, yo, you ever notice, like, when you're going to give someone a present and maybe you kind of want it yourself? Like, you want to just try one? Like, you want to give somebody, like a box of these chocolates, right? You spent $500 on a box of chocolates. And it's like, yo, I just want to try one.
Try one. Let me taste it.
But if you open that up, it's like, you can't give that gift.
You can't.
So that's
So
like,
true.
it's like you, like, trying to describe what the Almighty really is like opening up that box. That's like, yo, that's a gift for them to open up.
We couldn't even if we tried.
Exactly.
We're infinite. We're finite.
But here's the funny thing, right? About try. because I think we're already trying, like, because tri to me is Trinity.
Yeah.
Like a tri is a Trinity, right? So that's a 3. That's a triangle, right? So we're actually 2 interlacing triangles, which would be, you know, the upward motion and the downward, the masculine and the feminine interlacing. And that's how you get the Star of David, right?
I see that.
Which is your heart, representing your heart chakra. So it's like we're, I think, because once you really analyze these words in this sort of way, you might even live a different way. Because ultimately, if you think like, wow, so if I'm already trying, before I even think I'm going to try, like, oh, let me try to do this right now. But it's like you're already trying. You don't have to try. That would actually, that would dilute your own, like, creative force.
Yes.
But if you, that's where the confidence comes in. Like, a child doesn't try to do anything. Child are just doing shit. Like,
do it, yeah.
why did you do that? I don't know. Like, what do you, I don't know. I just
Not
did
even
it.
conscious thinking, they just do
I
it.
just do it. You know, they really, the real trip is, especially as a parent, if you're ever getting upset at something your child is doing, like, why did you do that? It's probably because they saw, or it's more because of how we did it and they picked up on it. And then we get upset because we're seeing someone else do the same shit we did and that didn't work. And then we're pissed because we weren't able to do it right. And then we project that anger onto them because we see them making the same mistakes. And I've learned this with my dad. And I've been through this with my pops already. And it's like such a powerful thing because I can sit back with my pops now and I can just observe and I can be like, okay, I see that. I see my own tendencies. He was an English professor, right? What are we doing right now? We're studying English pretty much. Right? And I put this together the other day. I'm like, I'm so much like my pops. Like, he was an English professor and I always thought like, well, I would never be into that.
In your own way.
And then like 5 years later, I'm like doing it and I didn't even realize it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, that's just how we're always going to be. That's our ancestry, you know? It's like, yo, a mango tree can grow, drop the fruit, and then another tree grows from the fruit because the seed, and then another tree grows, and then that mango could show up 500 miles away from that tree. But guess what? That mango from that tree and that mango from that tree is going to taste exactly the same. Same thing. So it's like, it's such a beautiful thing, and that's why I love like fruit, because to me that's like the sweetest nectar. And what you really start to notice is like a lot of fruit just looks just like a vagina, you know? And this will just send you off like, wait a second, this is too much.
True, that's true.
And it's like you have the seeds, what a trip, because the men carry the seed, right? But then you open up a cantaloupe, like to have a cantaloupe, take out a thin slice of the cantaloupe and just peel it back, right? And then look in that cantaloupe. And you're going to see the canal, and you're going to see the seeds lining it. And it's like, God is a hermaphrodite. God is male and female equally.
That's why there's men and women on earth.
And that's why we're like,
Sides of them.
we're still the female too, like for two months, right? So that's when our real connection's made. And that's why, like when we were talking before about Tantra, that's why that's such a powerful energy, because that's like that's potentially the closest we can be to God particle is in that area. And that's why I love gardening, because I see that it's like very close to that.
Why don't you take us out on something there, man?
Yeah?
Yeah, why don't you give
You
us
want
a
me to run a
poem?
poem?
Yeah.
Can I get it out the book?
Whatever you want,
This is going to be kind of a short one. Is that cool?
Whatever you want, man.
Because you asked for me to bring a poem, and I was like, all right, let me find one of my books.
Whatever you want.
And I found one in here that I think is great.
We about to get us a poem. We about to get us a poem to end the session like we always do.
Get that good old dessert after that meal.
There we go.
All that meal, that knowledge.
So this stuff, you know, it's trippy, because I read this like 5-10 years ago, man, and it's like still so cool, man. Not what you want, but what you need to be. Ask thyself, what is the capacity of love, Jah heights, infinite, the might of the Holy Trinity, eyesight, I hail up the King, Haile Selassie. The battle within, good and evil. What do we intend? To just feed the people, to just help a friend, one good vibe to help mend, to help attend to the quilt of human relations. It's a duty of all the nations, but they still exempt of any taxation. Don't want to pro-tribute nor propagate perfect creation. So we stay in stagnation, like chillin' at the Elk Lounge, safe and secure, amongst the hustle and bustle of downtown for sure. The struggle is real, the struggle is pure. Being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. Nations rise and fall like the seasonal leaves, but Rastafari stay evergreen. The King of Glory pervade upon the scene. Smash down Babylon, how you mean? Haile Selassie, the King of Kings.
Man, wow.
So just a little something.
That was deep, man.
You know, it's again, it's like it just comes back to those seeds, you know? It just really comes back to that seed and that, oh yeah, what was I going to say? The struggle. Right. Because think about the struggle of a seed, right? Like a seed there in the blackness, damp, it's dark, it doesn't even know, it's like, it's cold maybe, you know? And it's like, I gotta get out of my shell. Like, I gotta break. I know that this shell is not me.
The beautiful struggle.
I'm more than this, so it has to break out, and it's still dark, and it sprouts. You know, it has to push the dirt aside. Like, the plant has to literally be pushing through this dirt, out through the darkness, and then, you know, it comes out, and then it's like, okay, here, I made it. But it still has so much work to do, you know? And it's like, and it's just the work never ends.
Never ends.
Because then it has to bust out some leaves. Imagine like busting out a leaf like out of your arm. You gotta like, I mean, that's gotta be so intense.
Grow and sprout and expand.
And then like the seasons come and maybe you don't produce fruit for like 5 years. You know, mango tree doesn't produce fruit for like 5 years. Avocado, right? So it's gotta like just be working before it can actually like
produce,
bust the fruit, you know?
It's a lot of
and
work.
Then it's like, and it doesn't even ever really like eat the fruit, right? Like maybe the fruit rotten would fertilize the soil for the tree.
That's what it would do.
But really, it knows that its purpose is to just have another tree grow. Like my purpose is to grow a fruit so that I can lay another seed, not so that I can eat the fruit. So they say like don't plant a tree wanting to check the shade. Plant the tree knowing that the next generation will benefit from the shade. You might not benefit from that shade, but that next generation will. And you know, and then the generation after that. You know, so surely, yeah, there will be no trees here if we don't plant them. But if we plant them, then at least there will be that. Like again, it comes back to that matrix. To bring it full circle. It's like what integers, I see all those variables of society, of my family lineage, of whatever sort of family karmic debt we're working with. I see those integers. Where are my harmonics to enter? Where are my harmonics? And then now all those possible outcomes will actually be present. So it's like being very observing, integrate into your own life, and then do your due diligence to plant that harmony, to create the harmony, and then now everything's possible.
True.
So, but without that, then we're just going to be subject to what integers they're giving us, which isn't obviously what we want. There's much more than that. So the sky is not the limit. I kid you not. The sky is not the limit. We can go farther than that. So I give thanks. Thank you all so much for having me on here. Thanks everyone for tuning in tonight.
Thank you.
Good to see everybody. And yeah, catch them on YouTube. You know, Hartford, Connecticut. You know, y'all got more shout-outs for...
Yeah, you know how we do. How your man always say, what he say? God first, family second, streets third. You know we got this.
All right. And stay blessed, y'all. Stay blessed.
You know,
Stay tuned.
Boy, Bodega Chip, the brother Minister Too Tall, and the special guest Gavin here.
What's up?
See y'all next time around.
Rock a ball, baby. Rock a ball, baby.